Hey everybody, Bob Murnahan here, and today is day one of 30 of a little experiment that I'm trying here. It's going to be sort of my documented guitar diary. And I'm just going to throw out some tips every day for 30 days, just whatever happens to be on my mind. And today I want to talk about a couple of things that are related to technique. And the first one, this is a common mistake I see, especially for beginners, and that's applying too much pressure on the strings. And I was given a lesson a couple of days ago, and this came up in the lesson, and this is one of those things that you kind of take for granted, that you think everybody knows, and this person did not know it, so I'm now thinking that maybe there are others of you out there that don't know this, so I'm going to throw it out there for you, and hopefully this will help you out. So I'm going to use this note C right here. I'm in the third fret on the fifth string. Now, I can place my finger anywhere in the third fret in order to sound that note C. But the closer I can get to the fret, the easier it is to make the note sound. So that's what I want you to work on when you're playing chords or single note lines or anything. When I'm forming a C chord, for instance, I want to get my fingers as close to the frets as I can. So let's apply that to this note C here on the fifth string, third fret. I want you to just play that note with your finger right up next to the fret as close as you can get it. It might even look like you're on top of the fret, but the pad of your finger will actually be just behind the fret. If I get on top of the fret, it's going to start getting a little fuzzy sounding. So if I get just behind the fret, I'm going to get a good clean note. Now if I move back to the very back part of the fret, I have to press a lot harder to get that note to sound. And you can try that for yourself. Get close to the fret, get back here in the back part of the fret, and notice how much harder you have to press in order to get the note to sound. Now here's a little exercise that I want you to do. I want you to touch the string lightly, and I want you to start picking constantly. So you should just be getting this thunky sound like this. And I want you to start slowly applying pressure with your ring finger. And then what I want you to do is I want you to stop right at the point where it goes from this, or maybe a little bit buzzy, to where you have a clean sound. And what I want you to discover is I want you to discover the least amount of pressure that you can apply in order to get that note to sound. And I think you're going to be surprised. It doesn't take that much pressure to get the notes to sound. So hopefully that'll help you out in the future. Don't feel like you have to press too hard. Again, that's a big mistake that beginners make, and even like if I get out on a gig or something and the band's playing too loud and I start trying to dig in a little bit more and play too hard, I find that my technique kind of goes away. So that applies to all of us. So remember, again, just that find that exact spot where you're playing just enough pressure to get the note to sound, and that's all you need. You don't need any more than that. Now another question that I get is about how do you keep your fingers close to the fretboard. Typically I'm not a big fan of exercises, but this is one that my classical guitar instructor taught me in college, and this is a really valuable one, especially if it's done right. So the idea behind this exercise is you're going to take a 4-fret span. So here I'm going from the 3rd fret, 4th, 5th, and 6th. So you got your first finger in the 3rd, 2nd in the 4th, 3rd in the 5th, 4th in the 6th. And if that's too big of a stretch, just move it up here to one of the higher frets where the frets aren't so far apart. Now, the idea, one finger per fret, so you're going to play the note that's under your first finger, the note that's under your second finger, the note that's under your third finger, the note that's under your fourth finger. Now as I go up, notice that all of my fingers stayed on the string. So in other words, I didn't do this. And then when I go to the second finger, I'm not taking my first finger off, and I'm not taking... So in other words, when I get up here to the end, all 4 of my fingers should be on the first string. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to start taking them off one at a time, and I'm going to concentrate on keeping my fingers as close to the strings as I can possibly keep them. Now when you first try this, your little finger, you might notice, you take that little finger off and it just immediately wants to fly way out here, and then your third finger, and then you end up and your fingers are like way out here, far away from the guitar. So you really have to concentrate on keeping your fingers right above the strings And just try to keep them like an eighth of an inch above the strings if you can. Now you can't really see how far I'm getting off the strings there because of the camera angle. But I'm really working to keep my fingers close to the guitar. And if you just do this a few minutes every day, and again, it's not about speed. In fact, it's better if you do this slowly because it makes those muscles work harder, especially when you're coming off. All right, so there's that exercise, and I think you'll find that that's much more difficult than it looks. But if you spend a few minutes doing that every day, and even if you're practicing scales or whatever you happen to be working on, if you really focus on keeping those fingers close to the fretboard, you'll find that you can, over time, you can train them, and you'll be able to keep them closer to the fretboard without having to think about it. And that's really crucial. There's no reason to expend any more effort or energy than you need when you're playing the guitar. And having your fingers fly away off the fretboard is just wasted movement. All right, that's it for today. I'll see you tomorrow with another tip. Thanks for watching.